What is up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music as a musician myself. Today is the return of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is Zanza, the Divine, from the channel Joe VGM, the first Xenoblade song of 2024. This is requested by a handful of people: Snifalicious, Tri-Edge 101, That Great Guy 1, and Tim. Thank you all. Well, before I get started on this, I will be playing my first Xenoblade Chronicles sometime this year. I don't have an exact date. I can safely say sometime around the spring. More info later. And that's from the courtesy of you guys and the community, because someone, donated a Switch basically, and I have to figure out how to capture it and all that stuff. But it'll be my first Nintendo console since the Game Boy Color in 1998. So anyways, I'm excited for Xenoblade Chronicles, although I'm not sure if Xenoblade Chronicles and Definitive Edition are the same game. I'm assuming they are. One's newer. So either way, I'll get into that later, but I'll be playing my first one. And again, it's because of the music, so I'm excited. This is Zanza the Divine, I'm guessing is a character theme. That's it. Let us begin. Now. I'm a big fan of Xenoblade music since the very beginning. Have I heard lyrics before in Xenoblade? I don't remember. Maybe. Ominous. Those guitars are crunchy. Reminds me of Nier a little bit. Oh, this one's all about the rhythm. Very simple. But the groove I should say, not rhythm. Ooh. This doesn't sound like any Xenoblade I've heard so far. Kinda. Where are they gonna go from here? Organ? No, it really sounds like Nier. Whoa. I have to check something really quick. Okay, that answers that. love that lingering power chord just hanging. Metal AF. It's so straightforward. This has to be a boss battle. Okay, quickly. Very quickly. Out of all those requests, those are all for the definitive edition. So I had to make sure on the list, like, oh, maybe no one accidentally did the original and I missed it. I looked up and no one requested the original. So I'm going to change that right now. So this is unplanned. I'm adding more to my workload. No one requested this except me. I'm just curious because I know people were going to talk about it. This is the original. Unplanned. So it's a 2-for-1 video. Hooray! 2024. This is from the Xenoblade Chronicles OST channel. This is Zanza the Divine, as of now, requested by Jesse. Interesting. All right. I get it. What a groove, man. It's a headbanger. This one has more symbols. This one sounds more like a Guilty Gear song. It's got that aggression. If you know, you know. Also, that sound effect. I think it's only in this one. That little wow, wow. Alright, Xenoblade fans, consider that a bonus. I'm still definitely going to talk about this one more, but I'll talk a little bit about the original. Actually, I can just do that now. So, speaking of Nier, similar scenario here. If those are unaware, the original Nier game, just called Nier or Nier Gestalt, came out a long time ago on the, I think, Xbox 360. Could be wrong. I think it was 360. And then it was remade recently into Nier Replicant, and they redid the soundtrack as well. So, you'll have your people that like, oh, I prefer the original soundtrack and whatever. It's just basically the same thing. They just upped the production quality, but kind of the same thing here where like the drums are more aggressive, the guitar is more aggressive. It's the exact same thing. Basically, the newer one cleaned it up. So my guess is all these requesters just preferred that version, right? It's cleaner. It's the better version of it, subjective. Because now I'm positive there's going to be comments here like, well, I prefer this one, I prefer that one. Well, guess what? You're both right. It doesn't matter, because to me, I've always found it completely irrelevant when someone says something is better, because it's your opinion, and opinions are neither right nor wrong. Hot take, but completely accurate. So they're both cool, but I can understand why someone would prefer the definitive edition. It's essentially the same song, just very little variants. It quite literally sounds like they mixed and mastered it and recorded it better. When I say better, I mean quality-wise, not, whatever, you know what I mean. Because the original has that grit, the guitars are really crunchy, it's like no bass on them, and it just sounds like a 80s thrash band or something. And the vocals sound a little more pronounced in the other one. Anyway, what I'm saying is, whatever you like, cool. Now, as far as the song goes, altogether, I have to admit, I'm surprised, because when I think of Xenoblade, now mind you, I've heard Xenoblade, I've heard Definitive Edition, I've heard Xenoblade Chronicles X, and whatever. I feel like I've done a handful. I've done 3. I think 2. I've done a handful of them. I kind of know their sound, or so I thought. Because when I think of Xenoblade, typically I kind of hover around like very eccentric violins with a good energy, and then there's stuff like Gower Plains, which I love. And I'm aware that they can do, this metal stuff, but I've never really heard it that aggressive and that slow. That was all very groove rock, especially when the second half was just like kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, right? It's very like pumping, and to me that sounded like a boss. And when I see Zanza the Divine, it's a little vague. Could be a main character, could be a boss name. And when I hear that music, now that I've heard battle themes, regular like our playing themes, and I've heard some heavy stuff like Mechanical Rhythm, for example. But this was like heavy and like in a headbanging fashion, like just as like, it's got that like chug, chug, So that's what I'm leaning towards. It sounded great though. And I'm glad I heard the original. I don't always do that, but I've noticed I've done it at least twice for Xenoblade Chronicles. I typically don't do that. And you might be wondering why. Well, I'll tell you. I listen to only what people send me. They request, they sign up, whatever, and they send me a link, whatever they want. Now, so that could be the original, or that could be, whatever. So a lot of times people will say, why don't you listen to this version or this version? Like, okay, well, I would be here all day. I just would be here all day. But since I have some experience with, like, for example, like the Nier thing, I would have known any different. But now that I know that it's the same song, I'm curious as to why no one sent it. That's what really got me. I was like, why? What is it? Is it too blank? In my case, I'm going to just assume that it's maybe too harsh. It's just a little. I'm speaking from like an engineer perspective. Like, I could see how you could like both, right? Obviously. But also sometimes nostalgia holds people back, whether they want to admit it or not, you know? Like they'll swear something is quote unquote better, but it's just really what they started with, so their bias is there. It's just a human thing we do. But as someone who hasn't played this game and has no bias and no nostalgia, and I've recorded stuff in my life, I hear the quality difference, and I would prefer to hear the definitive edition. That doesn't mean it's better, but you know what I'm saying. It's easier on the ears. I don't think I could listen to the original's guitar sound constantly, though I doubt it play. I doubt you hear a guitar all the time in Xenoblade. It's probably like, you know, in certain spot. What I'm saying, I'm just speaking like if I was listening to like an album forward to back, that sound is really, for me, not ideal, but it's still cool in an aggressive fashion. Like I can listen to it once and be like, oh yeah, that was sick. Hope you guys know what I'm getting at. So some people, when it comes to the internet, man, especially on YouTube, oh my God, YouTube, we all know, you're on YouTube right now. I'm a viewer just like you guys. I watch videos. People freak out when they see me in like comment sections. They're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, it's YouTube. Like, I did this for years before I uploaded. But we know how opinions can get, and even within like, you would think that Xenoblade Chronicles as a whole, as a community, would just like, I'm just using Xenoblade as an example. There's millions of examples, but you'd think they would just like, you know, combine forces and be like, yeah, this is cool. But between every community, there's always like split opinions on anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And again, I saw that with Nier, because I played Nier. And there's the people that are like, oh, well, I played this when it came out. It sounds way better. I'm like, okay, you know. The reason I'm getting at this, by the way, and I say this in the most nicest way possible, listen to what I'm saying here. Like, listen to my words and not what I'm saying. I'm going to say that again. Listen to my words and not what I'm saying. I don't care. You know, like why tell me? Now, I don't want it to make it seem like, oh, YouTuber doesn't care about their audience. Some things need to add context, and I care for you guys. But, like, my opinion isn't yours. Yours is mine. We could share it. But what I'm getting at is when people try to, like, change your mind with their opinion. That's when, you know what I'm saying? So, it's better to have an open mind and enjoy everything. The way I see it, we get two versions of a dope-ass song. Zanza the Divine. Just thank you to everybody. From Xenoblade Chronicles and the Definitive Edition. Thank you, Snifalicious, Triad101, The Great Guy, and Tim. Thanks to everyone that you see here. I will be playing this game sometime in the spring of 2024. Look out for that. I will have info on that either in my Discord, which should be in my description, and then like the VOD page, but that's going to be after other games. Anyways, thank you. Video game music rules. I will see you all later. Peace.